Okay, I'm back to the stream. It didn't take as long as I thought, so I probably didn't really need to end stream, but it was a good thing in case it did take long. So we'll go ahead and finish this up. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose law is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. But sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that is the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is that? Surely not a tax on windows. Precisely that. Oh my goodness. Unrelatively unrecently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large tax sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So, some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous. It would appear so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinary low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that is correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes. Mr. Naruhodo? Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder, to the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? Gosh, people actually remember his name. I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized. And so promptly, too. The thing is, it really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes. Trust. Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? Ha 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 ha! My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea! Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to have seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say without any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Gerdeb is? Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, That is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo. As yet, our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you are right. Perhaps it is time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garrudub's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Let's go back to Garrudub's room then. 19th February, Mr. Garrudub's room. Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Herlock Sholmes? Ah, yes. Rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joanne. Now then, why don't you tell me what... For the umpteenth time, woman! Will you watch what you're bally well doing? I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Ah, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave, if you'd be so kind. Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure, best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrudub is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. You're already in here, Mr. Sholmes. I can see your briefcase, your thing there. Ah, what's he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes! Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious! When did you sneak in here? Herlock Sholmes, sir. At your service. Whatever were you doing over by the window? I am given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Ah, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Ooh, dance of deduction. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Do you mean Mr. Sholmes? There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. So yeah, this was going to take a lot longer than I had expected. So I probably... yeah, never mind. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo? I think so. I wouldn't have been able to skip on that little thing I had to do. There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Mr. Garrudub, though it would seem you are a military man of considerable distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate. I'm afraid, sir, that is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I have been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. Eh? And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look! The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sherlock's conclusions are both spot on. How How could you possibly? How could I possibly know? You mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of the beasts. Ah. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Nature of the beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Gerda, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. That's not quite right. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? He's got, like, a thing on his face. Yeah. Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well? Yet, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it's plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding it from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Ah! Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Deb, at Batty's Circus, a traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion, and a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. Not quite right there, Mr. Sholmes. Topic 2. Aftermath. Now, Mr. Garridub, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress that loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Hello, exponent. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man. I simply... But what we must now ask ourselves is the true cause of this pain. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is the pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Ah. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so, you had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out his one last unimaginable act. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. It looks burnt, though. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. That really doesn't have anything to do with it. There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than the beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There is only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. I also think that's wrong. Carpet gnawed on by the lion, by a starving lion. I think it actually has to do something with the candle we saw by the rug. This concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. Arrgh. What is the matter with you, Joanne? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it, again? Well, your deductions are just now... Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realm of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to reconsider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Ah, that is where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said that they stole the lion to the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I have ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Miss Susato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whether anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling this was coming. A slight massage. That's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it. Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward. Mr. Naruhodo? We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that is what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning. Of Sherlock Sholmes, Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Okay. Certainly shouldn't take a great detective as a see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? That's sort of correct. Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly cannon. Aye. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrideb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. That's where the contradiction lies. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Gyardub's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Gyardub's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. What is this? What's this photograph? It appears to be Mr. Gyardub's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. No, unfortunately, something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply here. Is there anything else I can look at? Mortar shells. These are shells from the cannon, are they? What a strange place to keep them. Imagine if they have some significance to Mr. Gyardub from his time in the army. Ah, of course. He mentioned a battle to us before, didn't he? Do you remember? He said that he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that hit him. If a round that size had hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of him, or Mr. Gyardub for that matter. Mr. Sholmes has a Persian slipper. And this man has spent shells. Perhaps it's customary in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece. So it can't, I doubt it's the mortar shells. But what else could it be? It wasn't the lion statue. And I severely doubt you just launched a cannon. So it has to be with the photograph frame. The glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all, but no amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form. I think powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you'd want to upset, that's for sure. Oh look! Have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it? Yes, that's an unusual design. It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower. I'm just gonna... Holy crap, I got it! Let's go! The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanations could possibly fit. Yes, this frame print pictures your wife, Mr. Gyardub. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, Indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late. The fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Gyardub. Yar. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well? Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray, you can not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of Miss Gyardub anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue to her whereabouts, a clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Miss Gyardub's wife could be. Must be on her person. Ah, that would do it. She's wearing a very large ring, look. Oh yes, a sunflower design, with some rather nice embellishments. And it's on the finger of her left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring. It looks like it's on there. It's on there for life too. I can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size. That's something to think, Mr. Naruto. Not to say. Do you know Mr. Garudub's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one? It was a large sunflower design as well. Really? You have a great memory for these things. A large sunflower wedding ring. It is quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it?
Take that!
Let's go. Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Ah. Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garudub's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garudub's lucky bride. You are Miss Garudub herself. Oh my. Word! Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightfully surmised, this is the wife, yes, my Joanne. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a corker. What? It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. Tisk. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's the sort of thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though, in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garudub has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garudub? Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. The tip-top secret, please. Raging wife and Mr. Garudub. Now, I have a feeling what happened to the carpet. Now, Mr. Garudub. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavily on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garudub's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. But Mrs. Garudub is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garudub's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? Finally, we can see the thing on the slapped cheek. The slapped cheek. I thought it was like a burn mark or something. Oh my! Look at that bright red mark. Gosh, that's quite something, and clearly made by somebody's hand. Yes, Mr. Garudub has been slapped on the face. It seems hard. I've never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing? Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say.
Take that!
Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madame Joanne Garudub. Well, yes. You have been desperate to hide the thought mark on your cheek, sir. Ah. How the blazes... How did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That is why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Gerda to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is the pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Not quite right. Did Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garab's wife. Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing. Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such a force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. There's broken plates. Let's look at this. Friggin' fly. Oh dear, this plate has been smashed to pieces, and nobody seems inclined to tidy up the mess. Perhaps it's some sort of high art. Really, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, anyone who has a cannon on display in their living room is clearly a little eccentric. Yes, let us call it eccentricity. What does this bookmark have on it? Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here. Look. Mr. Gerda is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, said Sato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So this mark is actually a love note, then, Let's present that. Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. Gar. But I don't know the bally woman. You don't know her? The note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That is right. That's what I've been saying. Ah. A likely story. Now listen here, Joanne, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place, and the note must already have been in there. So, the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That is right. That's what I've been saying. Ah. A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you'd forgotten, is John. Ah. I need to work on my screaming. A likely story. Are you questioning my name now? And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh dear me, what could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we only need look at the Tower of Cakes, which has nothing to do with it. But surely Miss Gerda didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in result of her wild temper. No, that is true. So, this is the last part of Mr. Sholm's seduction that we need to fix. We need only to follow Miss Gyarados' gaze, and that will tell us the answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes. If you turn around, you can see a candle right here.
Take that!
I didn't mean to present just the carpet. The cause of the carpet being in such a terrible state here is the carpet itself. Now, I realize that appears to be something of a circular argument. However, it is the tack I've decided to try, and I'm not changing course now. That deduction was wanting in every way. Yes, I was wanting you to hear it, and I'm quite proud of it. I find myself wanting to never have heard it. I'm quite pained by it, in fact. Oh, sorry. I'll try again. Okay, let's try that again. But not present. The real question here is, was the carpet actually eaten by something, or did something else happen to it? Perhaps that would be answered by examining the carpet in more detail. If we can find another possible explanation, maybe it will lead us to the right answer. Good idea. Yes, the point is, how did the carpet end up like that? Let's look at the carpet. The carpet here has been ripped to shreds. Yes, and according to Mr. Sholm's deductions, the tears matched those made by an Indian lion's teeth exactly. Oh, look here. What is it? If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks. Oh yes, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all. Let's rethink this with that in mind. Do I have to re-examine the carpet again? Rip to shreds. No. Do I present the carpet again? I mean...
Take that!
Nope! I don't know. Do I present the candelabra there, then? The candlestick. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. It looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the three missing from its holder? The candlestick. There. I actually got it right this time, even though I was technically on the right track. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed, they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Miss Gyarados' mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused a candle to fall from the holder, and in seconds the carpet was alight and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, for the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir, I salute you! And he collapses onto the floor. Or not. Carpet scorched by a small fire. Deduction complete. Elementary. It is these dashed long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material, for which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems. Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be closer to the mark. And beast is most certainly an apt Here we go again. And the carpet? Was that destroyed by the fire when a candle fell on the floor? Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The old place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That is sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being. Over here, Mr. Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'd allow me. I immediately forgot his name. Had all my favorite old novels in that case, but as soon as the fire got a hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me. She just hurls a mortar at your face. What a terrible sight it must have been. There was I, backed up against the window, under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride? Ah, yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again. I assure you, the title did not influence my choice in the slightest. So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage. Mr. Sholm's deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell you, it was total carnage, flames everywhere, and the old stick in full futile. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see. Around 5 o'clock, I think. So at exactly the same time, as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below. Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment. And I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing. Oh, really? Mr. Sholmes. Yes, Mr. Naruto? What can I do for you? Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Gyarados' situation now, but what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that, although I knew that the retired army man was hiding to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not. I just knew you were gonna say that. Ah ha 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 ha. Now, Mr. Naruto, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no, is it that time already? If we are to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now? I must prepare supper for Mr. Gyarados. Oh yes, I'm sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Saseki-san will be waiting for us, and I'm going to have to give him an answer. February 19th, Briar Road. I thought I went to the prison. It's time, Mr. Naruto. We must hurry back to the prison. Yes, I know. Let us hail a Oh. What is the matter? It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Gyarados' house. The hell is that thing? I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. Who are you calling an old man, you rum-looking niminy-piminy? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Who's this Horatio fella, eh? What are you on about? Excuse me. What the? Who are you now? I'm so sorry. It just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see. A lawyer? What? If I could be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English law. Tisk. Fine. I'll be on my way for today. But you mark my words. This ain't over yet. Get thee to a nunnery. Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you? God, I hate this guy already. Just looking at his face upsets me. I do hope you are not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but... Are you a lodger here, in the Gyardab residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Gyardab mentioned that he had another ledger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume? Oh, more worthy a polemist than my battle of words ne'er could there be. Sorry? Battle, did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances, at least. So, fair maiden, so, good gentleman, I could tarry here no longer. Fare thee well! He just seems so obnoxious. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. It seems he is unaware of what has happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Sasaki-san and that man as lodgers, the Gyardab house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go and find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. 19th February, 6:31 p.m. Local prison, cell 9. Oh, it is you! You are here! You came! Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I am so touched! We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing, Nipponese! Oh, now, let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There is nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's own native land. On the other hand, it is through friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least. It's it's you! The miserable rotten spy! Herlock Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything per se. Save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of the eccentric pair, I decided I should drop it in on my way home, to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room? At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delightful and cost me not a penny. Arr, you! How dare you! Herlock Sholmes! I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is bedamned! What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there is much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. What's... Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say. For the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. Oop. What is that supposed to mean? Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed. Oh no, why are you looking so grave? You are making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that is all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. It's really agitated him. You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow. Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey? The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please tell me. Summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words. No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever. Oh my goodness! Can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly! Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper, but then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGilden... What? What? Ah, I'm impressed, Mrs. Sato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes... Surely it can't be that, having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zieks killed the man himself. Oh no, he couldn't have, surely. Ah ha 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 ha! You have some wonderful notions! Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. Why, of course he is. Arrgh. Of course he is, then! Why are you trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? Van Zieks is quite an exceptional man. However, in London's court of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. Ah, that is good. Sasaki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly, it is from time to time, my dear madam, it is simply the reality of the situation, and that is all right. However, those indicated by Lord Van Zieks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my. The adjudication may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom. Within months, they all disappear. It is most striking. Disappear? But how? Aye, but by all means of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by a highwayman. Oh, no. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. I knew it. I'm Dead, Dodo, done for, doomed. Cursed lodgings. When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room and Mr. Gardeb's house, I assume. Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. That didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreigner faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn to dusk. So I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time. I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago now. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap, I have so little money, it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it, but if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. But it was true. It was all true. You mean, the room really is cursed, then? Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I wake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really? No one at all? To believe, yes, to believe. Mr. Sholmes. Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Buria, if you recall. The Buria. Ah, that case. The one with the snake? Well, yes. At that time, I was a suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did. Did I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe in me? I see, yes, you mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room? Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires an explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said, I didn't do it. But, I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? You see, the only thing I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is to not. Oh, did I accidentally move that on accident? There. I make up my own... Okay. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I am concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. Ah ha 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 ha. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning? Whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, yes, he is right. He is right. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Whether or not I can believe myself? A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You were so right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear, there's never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume? If you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday, and although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? What to believe in? The defendant, justice, or the truth? How to believe, even. But I think I finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end with every weapon available to me. So I hope that you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was, in many ways, made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Mrs. Sato, yes? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind. But it's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learnt to believe in myself. Saseki-san has no one. He's all alone, so it's my job to help him, to fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, weigh it with all the strength I can muster. To be continued. Okay. I hope I don't have like any problems with my stream next time. But for real now, I'll actually be ending off this stream here. So, see y'all then.